Good evening, guys, and welcome back to my channel. So tonight I have a very exciting video for you, or at least it's exciting for me. I have been wanting to get my hands on these fragrances and try them for quite a while, and I'm really excited to share my thoughts on them with you. So if you have not heard of these before, these are from Fragrance One, or Jeremy Fragrance. So these are his first 4 fragrances that he has debuted. The only one I don't have in today's video is the new Black Tie. I kind of wanted to go with the first 4 original ones, and yeah, I'm very excited to share my thoughts on them with you. So if you haven't already subscribed, definitely make sure to head on down and hit the subscribe button. Make sure that your notification bell is turned on so you don't miss any of my uploads. On this channel, we talk all about perfumes. We also do a little bit of minimalism, home decor, sometimes fashion, but we mostly focus on perfumes here. So if that is your thing, definitely stick around. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, guys, so before I get into the actual review and talk about the longevity and the performance and what they smell like, I wanted to show you how these came packaged. So I'm doing a little bit of like pre-filming before I actually smell them. So these are the ones that I ordered from Jeremy. I ordered the Day for Women, the Night for Women, the Office for Man, and the Date for Man. And the only one that I didn't order is the newest one, which is Black Tie for Men. And the reason I didn't is because these were already all blind purchases. They are already quite expensive, and I haven't seen a whole lot of reviews. And also, I'm more interested in the female fragrances for myself, so I didn't want to go crazy buying all of the men's fragrances. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to show you how they came packaged, how long they took to get here, the pricing, all of that kind of stuff. So obviously my address is on the other side, so I'm not going to share that, but they did come in a little bubble mailer, and they came individually wrapped in bubble wrap, and then they're in like obviously some sort of a container, which I'll take the bubble wrap off and show you in a minute. These retailed for 39 euros each, which is a little bit pricey because that is basically on par with like a Tom Ford fragrance. He was kind enough to give me a discount. He was kind enough to give these to me for 50% off to review for you guys, but even so, it's still a little bit pricey. Why don't I take the wrapper off and just show you what the containers look like, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the day experimenting with these guys. So the women's have gold writing on them, and it's interesting because the women's also show as being an extrait de parfum, which means, for those of you who don't know, that means they have a higher perfume concentration of oils that are in there. So both of the women's, I don't think that's a mistake. I think that's just how they come. Both of the women's are extrait de parfum. Oh, and actually one of the men's is an extrait de parfum as well. The Date for Men is extrait de parfum, and the Office for Men is eau de parfum. So that's normal perfume oil concentration. So my first impression is that, I mean, these aren't particularly feminine or anything. They're all the same. There's really no specialization given to the women's versus the men's. I think it would have been kind of nice if they at least were like a different color or something. Maybe that's the vibe he was going for, who knows. They're kind of like this oddball shape. Yeah, and I haven't sprayed them yet, and I wonder if I can smell it at the atomizer. There's a little bit of a perfumey-esque smell at the atomizer, but I haven't even smelt these yet, you guys. So anyway, that's how they came. Overall, I'm quite happy with how they were packaged. These came very, very quickly. I ordered them about a week ago, and they came from, I think these came from overseas. Yeah, these came from overseas, you guys, so that's actually pretty impressive. I live in Canada, and I have to say, so far the packaging and the shipping were great. So the customer service, the experience so far has been really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray all of these, and I will come back to you in a little while with my thoughts on the scents themselves. So obviously this isn't going to be like a full review. I'm not going to wear these for a week. Yeah, I might come back and do that in the future. I just really want to see what these smell like, and I really want to share them with you. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay guys, so I'm taking a little bit of a change of direction. I was going to do like a full thorough review on each of these fragrances, but I think I'm going to do a little bit more of a first impression because I have been kind of testing these out throughout the day, coming back and smelling them, the papers, my arm, my skin, and I think I have a good enough impression of them that I can kind of tell you like how well they perform and my thoughts on the smell and stuff like that. I might have to come back in the future and update you like what my man thinks about the men's fragrances and how he responds to the day and the night for women, because I think it's really interesting to see obviously how they're going to go over for date nights and stuff like that. But yeah, why don't we just do a quick first impression of these fragrances. So first we'll talk about Day for Women. So this is a fruity floral scent. I'll put the notes up on the screen for you, but essentially this has jasmine, osmanthus, apricot, and benzoin. And my first impression of this fragrance is that it's very young, it's very fruity, and it kind of reminded me on first spray of sort of like a celebrity scent meets Juicy Couture, and not celebrity scent in a tacky way or in a way that it doesn't perform or something like that. Just it had a very young, fruity floral kind of a vibe, and then a little bit similar to like the Viva La Juicies. I was actually talking to Yana from The Scented, and I was telling her that this reminds me a lot of Gold Couture minus the caramel. So it does have a very similar like Viva La Juicy kind of a vibe, which a lot of other people have picked up from this as well. And that's not surprising because Jeremy Fragrance is famous for really liking the Viva La Juicy scents on a woman. So it's not surprising that he would come up with something that was sort of along those lines as well. So overall, it's a very mass-pleasing, pleasant, fruity floral scent. It is a little bit young. I don't think I could see anybody over the age of 35 to 40 wearing this. I think you would be hard-pressed to find somebody like a more mature woman who would want to wear this for a daytime scent. It actually strikes me as almost more of a nighttime scent. I think you could get away with this for nighttime. I think that men would find this quite sexy because it does have that sweet, almost like vanillic, fruity floral kind of a vibe. Just very sweet and very girly and very, very flirtatious. This is not a serious scent. It's not the type of scent I would wear for the office, which kind of threw me off a little bit because for a daytime fragrance for women, I was thinking either something quite fresh or something quite office appropriate, or like signature scent worthy, especially for like Day for Women. There's so many directions that you could go. So yeah, this is a very Viva La Juicy-esque scent. I do have it on my arm still here. I have the nighttime here and I have the day here, and it's okay. I'm not in love with it. It definitely does not stick around as long as the nighttime one. This I've had on my arm now for about 4 hours, and it's starting to fade and become quite soft at this point. So I would say that this one is like moderate longevity. It's not terrible. I've certainly seen worse. It doesn't perform poorly by any means, but it's not great either. Yeah, so that is the Day for Women. I think it's mass pleasing. I think it's a little bit young. Is it worth the price tag of 277 Canadian dollars? I don't think so, no. That's my personal opinion. This is very subjective, of course. Some people might say otherwise. For myself, I would rather invest $60 or $70 and get like a Gold Couture. Scent itself, I actually prefer better, and for a daytime scent for myself, this certainly wouldn't be something I would wear for the daytime. This would be something I would put on like just for like an intimate occasion, and only with the intention that my boyfriend might really like it. I wouldn't choose it for myself. So yeah, that is the Day for Women. I would not buy a full bottle of this. I definitely, spoiler alert, I definitely prefer the nighttime to this one. Okay, so moving on to the Night for Women. This one I actually quite like, you guys. This one has 3 notes that are listed, which is vanilla, benzoin, and jasmine. And mostly what I get from this is that vanilla and quite a heavy dose of benzoin. The jasmine might be there as like a supporting note kind of in the background, but I definitely wouldn't have pegged this for a floral scent if I would have smelt it just on its own without looking at the notes. This one is very warm, very cozy. It has like an ambery, sensual kind of a nighttime vibe. Think something along the lines of Kayali Vanilla, Bath & Body Works Vanilla Brown Sugar. Not that it smells like those ones, but it's kind of along that line. So if you're wondering what the nighttime smells like, it's very much along the warm, cozy, ambery vanilla type of vibe. It's really not complex. Neither of these 2 fragrances for women are complex. They're quite simple. This one has much better performance than the Day one. This one I sprayed on my arm the same thing about 4 hours ago, and it still smells pretty fresh. It smells like I just sprayed it not very long ago. So it is lasting quite long. I really like the way this smells. The sillage and the scent bubble that I get from this is very, very nice. It's very warm, very cozy. I'm just gonna smell my hand here again. Yeah, like it's very pretty. It's very cozy, very ambery, very vanillic, a little bit sweet, but not sickeningly sweet. I actually quite like this one. In terms of performance, I think this would be moderate to long lasting. It's not a beast. It's not going to cut through a big crowd or anything like that. It's definitely more of a close to the skin kind of a scent. I think this is designed, and I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I think this is designed for a little bit more of an intimate encounter, like when somebody's going to be closer in your bubble, like an arm's reach away or a little bit less. So it is kind of an inviting scent. It's the type of scent that says, I want you to get a little bit closer. You know, if your boyfriend leans in for a kiss or something or gives you a hug, he's going to be able to pick it up and it's going to smell quite nice and quite inviting and be very cozy and sensual and make him want to come closer for a better smell. It's that kind of a perfume. So it's very good for like intimate nighttime encounters, date night, Netflix and chill, cozying up on the couch, cold weather, really, really, really nice. So yeah, not very complex. Again, I don't think it's worth the $277 price tag. That's just my subjective point of view. There might be other people who beg to differ. And the other thing I have to say, you guys, I am not a perfumer. I don't know anything about the ingredients. I don't know where they are sourced from. I don't know if he uses higher end ingredients. I think he says he does try to use higher end ingredients that are worth the price tag, and perhaps he does. I don't know. I'm just going strictly on the scent itself. I don't think I would pay almost $300 for this. There's other perfumes that are much more affordable or about the same price that I would pay for before I would buy this one. Some of those might be Princess by Kilian, Rolling in Love by Kilian. Dior Addict is, you know, kind of along the same veins, except I think Dior Addict is better in projection. Like there's other perfumes that are a little bit more complex, give you the same feeling and don't cost nearly as much. It is a really nice scent though. And if this was in a better price range, if I could get this for like half off or, you know, between the $100, $120 range, I would be tempted to buy a bottle because it is quite nice. So I'll say that, like, I think it is full bottle worthy, but maybe not at the price that he has it listed. But that being said, I'm going to continue wearing this and see how it goes over. Jeremy was kind enough to give these to me for 50% off, like I said. So yeah, I don't know. If I could get that kind of a deal again, I might get a full bottle of the night. I don't know for sure though. I'm still kind of like gonna see how it goes. Yeah, because it is kind of a simple fragrance, but it's also kind of a nice one. Yeah, but the day one is definitely a little bit too fruity for me. Yeah, so those are my thoughts for the women's, and now let's move on to the men. Okay guys, so before I get into the individual fragrances, I do want to mention a couple of quick notes. First of all, I'm not a men's fragrance connoisseur. I'm not nearly as good with the notes. I don't have the men's sort of more masculine notes memorized, like what certain types of wood or whatever might smell like. So I'm kind of going to give you my opinion of how these smell, the vibe I get, are they sweet, fresh, woody, whatever, that kind of thing, and also if I like them, you know, in general. But I have to say, both of these are very, very good in performance. I sprayed one spray of each on a blotter paper 4 hours ago. It filled the whole house. These two fragrances filled the whole house. I have nothing bad to say in terms of performance for these. I think they're both great. The other thing I have to say is that I don't care what anybody's opinion is of Jeremy fragrance. Unfortunately, if you look on Fragrantica, you're gonna get a lot of really poor and misleading reviews, because a lot of people give him a lot of hate. They throw a lot of shade his direction, and I don't think that these fragrances are given enough credit for what they are. I don't think they're the greatest thing in the world, but I don't think they're given enough credit either. And I just want to show you something. You know how on Fragrantica people can say what this reminds them of? People are saying that Office for Men reminds them of Hannah Montana, Disney Princess. Like, they're being quite ridiculous. And maybe some people think it's funny and whatever, but I mean, whether or not you like Jeremy, the least you can do is at least properly review his fragrances. Be honest about it. Say what they smell like. You know, don't throw this ridiculous, childish, you know, shade in his direction. They might not be maybe worth $400 or $300, but I don't think they smell like pink poop emoji, okay? I just think regardless of what you think of Jeremy, you can, you know, give a proper review of his fragrances. So let's quickly talk about Office for Men. First of all, I want to say I actually like both of these fragrances. I think they're very nice, and I think my boyfriend would really like them. I think that if he didn't know what they were, he would smell them and think it might be Dior or Armani or something like that. Like, they're quite good smelling fragrances in my opinion. So the Office for Men is quite a fresh and clean and sort of a musky fragrance. It also has a little bit of a woody undertone. It has a little bit of amber. It's got some musk and some patchouli. It opens with ambroxan, bergamot, and orris root. There's also a little bit of floral notes in here. He also has ambergris. And what I really get from the Office for Men is just a very fresh, clean, definitely workplace appropriate, definitely office appropriate. It's not too in your face. You could even wear this one for nighttime actually. It's very nice. It reminds me a lot of like Dior Sauvage, just your like typical, really nice, mass-pleasing designer men's fragrance. Again, I don't know if this is worth 277 Canadian dollars for a 50 ml, but I do think that it's on par with some of the really good designer scents out there. I really do. I'm just going to take the lid off and give it a smell. It's really nice, you guys. It's really, really nice, honestly. I think this is even for being an office scent, I find this to be sexy as well. Like if a guy wore this on a date, I would think it smelled great. If my boyfriend wore this, I would absolutely love it. It smells really, really good. It's got a bit of a seductive quality about it, even though it's like fresh and clean. I really like it, you guys. Like, honestly, I'm more impressed with the men's than I am with the women's. Yeah, and also the performance on this, not an issue. Like I say, it filled the entire house. The papers that I sprayed about 4 hours ago are still extremely strong. I have no doubts that this would be a moderate to long-lasting cologne. I think this would be on par with some of the better performing designer scents out there. So that is my thoughts on Office for Men. I actually think my boyfriend is going to love this. I think he would really, really like it, and I think he would reach for it. So there you go. It's a good one. Yeah, Office for Men is really nice. I think he did a good job. I just don't know if it's worth almost $300. That's my take on that one. So now let's talk about Date for Men. So this one is a little bit different than the Office. This one is a lot deeper. It's a lot warmer. It's a little bit spicier. It's got a little bit of a sweetness to it. So this opens with juniper berry, mandarin, bergamot, lemon. It has cardamom and patchouli in the middle, so a little bit of a spiciness and a patchouli, kind of an earthy vibe in the middle. And then the dry down has vetiver and oud. So I don't get a ton of oud with this. I do get a little bit of a woodiness, but what I mostly get is like a sweetness, a little bit of a green kind of a quality. And by green, I mean like earthy forest kind of green, not fresh green. And also that like warmth. It almost smells to me like it has amber or something in it. There's something in it that really warms it up, and I guess that could be the cardamom that's in here. Yeah, it's just like a fruity, warm, woody, earthy, and quite rich fragrance. I do like it. I kind of am at odds. I want to say that I prefer the Office almost, but this one's also very sexy. This one's good. And this one has great performance as well. It's quite good, but for me, this is almost, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's the sexiest fragrance I've ever smelled. Like, considering this is a date for men, I think it's a very classy, slightly mature date fragrance. This definitely isn't like your young guy going to the club. This isn't anything like, you know, Invictus or like Acqua di Gio. It's a little bit more mature than that. It's a little bit richer. It's a little bit spicier. It's a little bit warmer. Myself, I prefer the Office. I actually prefer the Office. Again, I think that this is quite mass-pleasing. I think that it smells about on par with many of your very popular designer fragrances. But I think if I had to choose for myself, like if I was gonna buy one as a gift for my boyfriend, I'd go with the Office one. And I also think, perhaps, I could be wrong, but I think that for him, I think he'll probably also prefer the Office. That's just my feelings. The Office one is a little bit more like fresh, sexy, very mainstream. They're both pretty mainstream smelling, I will say. And I do think that they're great fragrances. There's absolutely nothing wrong with these. They smell very, very good. They have really good performance. They fill a house, they fill a room, but I just don't know if they're worth quite $300. Like, I think even if he would have priced them at like, you know, 150 Canadian, that's still a lot, but I could justify that. That's kind of my thoughts on these fragrances. I have to say that, you know, I have no issue supporting Jeremy and promoting his products because He's one of the people I've probably watched the most videos of. He's definitely influenced a couple of my choices, and I think good for him. I think it's great for him that he's made a business and he's doing well and he's successful, and I really think it's unfortunate that a lot of people give him negative reviews and negative perfume reviews just because they maybe don't care for him as a person, or maybe they're a little jealous or something. I don't know, but I think good for him. I think he did really well on these fragrances. I think he kind of did what his vision was. The Day for Women, I could take or leave. I really like, it's a little bit too young for me. I don't think I would wear this one. The night one though is quite nice. I would wear the night one if I had a full bottle. I just wouldn't pay the full price for it. And the men's ones again are really, really good. Just maybe not worth that hefty price tag. So those are my thoughts on these fragrances. So that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on these fragrances. If you've tried them yourself, definitely let me know what your thoughts were. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. And if you haven't already, feel free to head on over and follow me on Instagram, where I share a lot of little tidbits of my life that I don't usually share here on YouTube. And I'll see you guys all next time. Bye for now.